here at Brown's training facility, fans are driving by and yelling in frustration. The Deshaun Watson Foundation raised $500,000 last year and only gave out about $85,000. The rest stayed with the foundation's bank account. Bro is a fraud in every aspect of life.
Before moving further, we're pushing for 1,000 subscribers here at Gridiron Ground. If you're enjoying our Browns and Shedeur Sanders coverage, hit that subscribe button and be part of the journey. Let's build this community together. Right outside the Cleveland Browns headquarters, frustrated fans were literally slowing down their cars, rolling down their windows, and screaming in total disbelief. Todd Monken had just stood before the press and officially named Deshaun Watson the Week 1 starting quarterback over Shedeur Sanders. But within minutes of that press conference ending, the entire football world erupted. Anyone who watched a single open session of training camp knows Watson did not win this job through superior performance. Reputable beat writers on the ground reported that the competition was razor close, with Shedeur actually displaying better accuracy, cleaner timing, and superior pocket poise throughout August. How does a passer battling through consecutive major Achilles injuries, an alienated home crowd, and shaky preseason tape keep the keys to a franchise? The reality behind closed doors has almost nothing to do with standard football logic. Before we uncover the financial leverage and front office pressure driving this entire controversy, do something for me right now. Drop one single word in the comments below, truth or politics. Type your answer down below, because by the end of this breakdown, you will see exactly what Cleveland is hiding.
Deshaun is going to start against Jacksonville. Took in the full body of work over the course of off-season to training camp to the games, the joint practice, and ultimately felt like to start the season on the road, Deshaun gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points. I mean, where he was at, where he's at now, where he wants to get to. That is what's so awesome about Shedeur understanding that. Really, he does. We met this morning for a good long time, and all he had was a smile on his face.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
The atmosphere around the training facility in Berea told the full story long before any official statement reached the wire. Supporters drove past the facility gates expressing raw disbelief, where team personnel could hear every word. This was not typical off-season chatter or harmless social media debate. This was an immediate, visceral reaction from a dedicated football city that has endured decades of front office blunders and quarterback controversy. Todd Monken stood at the podium and delivered the standard organizational script. He stated that the coaching staff evaluated the full body of work across voluntary workouts, training camp sessions, and joint practices before concluding that Watson gives the Browns the best chance to move the football and score points on the road. On the surface, that sounds like standard, measured coach speak. It is the kind of calm explanation designed to soothe public concern and present the depth chart as the result of a fair process. But when you examine how the players themselves responded, that neat narrative quickly falls apart. When Watson stepped up to address reporters about earning the starting job, his demeanor lacked the confidence of a franchise leader who had just won an open camp battle. He sounded like a player managing a public relations problem. He spoke about his emotions getting the better of him during previous sessions and rushed to clarify that his past remarks were never intended to attack the home crowd or criticize the city. That is not how an established quarterback talks when he knows he dominated a competition through pure execution. That is the tone of an athlete bracing for an inevitable wave of public backlash. Across the facility, the contrast could not have been more striking. When the coaching staff informed Shedeur Sanders that he would begin the year as the backup, the young quarterback simply smiled. There was no theatrical tantrum, no angry locker room leaks, and no immediate trade demands through the media. He took the news in stride, maintained his professionalism, and let his preseason film speak for itself. That calm reaction resonated across the entire locker room because it demonstrated complete awareness of the situation.
As the Watson Warriors get a big W, Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Now, hit him with a... Here's the only problem. Nobody agrees with it. Hey, nobody agrees. And I'm talking about, I'm seeing people who have said disgusting things about Shedeur. Said Shedeur needs to be a streamer and stop playing. And they're like, yo, Shedeur clearly won. I made a video this morning talking about how Shedeur clearly won. If we're going by football, if we're going by cadence, if we're going by the things that we said Shedeur was lacking in.
Here's where it gets interesting, though, because Monken himself addressed the booing directly, and his answer is a lot more revealing than the press conference line about body of work.
Well, I said it yesterday, like, he bleeds like we bleed. 22 months of working to get back, giving himself another opportunity for the Browns, okay? So that I respect. And sure, was he hurt? Yes. But I also said yesterday, okay, I don't like being booed either. I don't like when we jump off sides 3 times at the end of the game, okay? But we earned that, right? We earn our respect by how we play. We earn our fans, right, in terms of appreciation of the product we put on the field, and that's our job. So on one side, I 100% understand where Deshaun is coming from, but ultimately, we're pros. I mean, we got to put on a good product, and we got to play. You got to pull your big boy pants up and let's go play.
Sanders knew what the daily practice film showed. He knew he operated the system with rhythmic efficiency, distributed the ball accurately, and avoided the costly mental errors that plagued the veteran throughout the summer. Yet he also understood the financial realities of an NFL depth chart when an unprecedented contract sits on the team ledger. When an organization asks its supporters to ignore what they see with their own eyes, trust between the franchise and the city begins to fracture. If you appreciate honest, in-depth breakdowns that look beyond standard team press releases, take a quick moment right now to remember the channel name, the NFL Updates. Subscribing to the NFL Updates right now ensures you never miss the real, unfiltered stories behind the biggest controversies in the league. What happened on the practice fields in Berea was only the first sign of an internal crisis that is about to reach a boiling point. To truly understand why the local fan base reached such a high level of frustration, you have to ignore the prepared podium statements and examine the daily practice film from training camp. For over a month, beat reporters, film analysts, and team observers stood along the sidelines evaluating every passing period, red zone drill, and joint practice session. The consensus among those watching daily reps was clear and consistent. There was no undeniable talent gap separating the veteran starter from the second-year challenger. In fact, multiple veteran reporters noted that when evaluating pure passing mechanics, ball placement, and rhythmic decision-making, the competitive edge consistently favored Shedeur Sanders. Consider the dynamic between these two players throughout the summer. Watson entered camp with 9 years of professional experience, extensive time in NFL film rooms, and thousands of live game snaps. Sanders was operating within a complex new offensive playbook, learning to navigate disguised coverages against starting defenses, and facing an intense level of media scrutiny. Yet day after day, Sanders looked like the quarterback operating on schedule, delivering accurate throws with consistent timing, while Watson often hesitated through his reads and struggled with his throwing base. When the team transitioned into live preseason games, the game film mirrored the practice reports. Watson played against opposing reserves and backup defensive personnel, yet the offense routinely stalled. Throws missed wide of open targets, protection timing looked inconsistent, and the unit struggled to establish any sustainable rhythm. In contrast, the moment Sanders stepped onto the field, the entire offensive operation appeared to stabilize. Sanders moved the pocket with poise, recognized defensive blitz packages before the snap, delivered accurate passes down the boundary, and guided the team into scoring position with natural composure. Analysts who had previously questioned Sanders during his draft process suddenly had to reevaluate their positions on live television. Commentators who had labeled him as an unproven prospect were forced to admit that, during live game action, the younger quarterback executed the offensive scheme with far more consistency than the veteran ahead of him. The on-field evidence was available for everyone to see. If this competition had been decided strictly on the quality of play during August, the depth chart would have looked entirely different. Instead, the organization chose to overlook the on-field discrepancy, asking the public to trust an internal evaluation process that the game film simply did not validate. But ignoring film evidence rarely works in professional football. When live regular season defenses arrive, execution issues cannot be masked by public relations statements, and the underlying reasons behind this decision reach far beyond the playing field. Here is the central reality that team executives avoid discussing publicly, but every sports business analyst understands immediately. Deshaun Watson is playing under an unprecedented, fully guaranteed contract worth approximately $230 million. This contract is fundamentally different from typical NFL agreements, where a team can cut ties after a disappointing stretch and spread the remaining dead money across future salary caps. Every single dollar of that commitment is locked into the team balance sheet, creating an immense financial obligation that influences every major roster decision the franchise makes. When an organization trades away significant draft capital and guarantees a contract of that magnitude, the situation ceases to be a simple football evaluation. It becomes an institutional commitment for the owner and the executives who orchestrated the trade. Benching a player under that financial structure is not just a standard personnel adjustment. It serves as a public admission that the front office committed historic resources to a player who can no longer secure a starting role through open competition. Because of that staggering financial reality, an immense amount of internal pressure exists within the organization. The front office faces intense corporate incentives to keep Watson on the field in an attempt to justify the investment. Benching Watson before the regular season begins would confirm to the entire sports world that the organization made one of the costliest miscalculations in modern sports history. This dynamic represents a classic example of the sunk cost dilemma in professional sports. Rather than playing the quarterback who demonstrates the highest operational efficiency during camp, the franchise feels compelled to start the high-priced player to defend the initial transaction. The executives know that once Watson permanently moves to the backup role, organizational scrutiny will shift directly toward the front office leadership that authorized the contract. Understanding how corporate finance and contract leverage influence modern sports decisions gives you a much clearer view of what happens on game day. If you want ongoing analysis that explains the business mechanics behind major NFL moves, make sure to stay connected with the NFL updates. Subscribing to the NFL updates right now keeps you ahead of every major development as this quarterback.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Dynamic unfolds. The tension in Cleveland is not merely about third down conversions. It is about protecting the executive credibility of the entire organization. As national debate over the quarterback decision expanded, several sports analysts and league observers began examining the conditions under which the current coaching staff was hired. A prominent perspective circulating among sports commentators suggests that the starting quarterback decision was largely settled when Todd Monken agreed to become head coach. According to various reports and industry speculation, Prospective head coaching candidates were asked during the interview process whether they were willing to build the offense around Watson, manage the surrounding media pressure, and commit to him as the starter. Looking back at how the offseason search progressed, that reported dynamic provides significant context. Several young, highly regarded offensive coordinators who were viewed as rising head coaching candidates across the league withdrew from consideration for the Cleveland position. While mainstream reports characterized those moves as standard interview processes, sports insiders suggested that candidates were hesitant to accept a role where the starting quarterback choice had already been determined by team leadership regardless of preseason competition. Monken, an experienced coach familiar with the professional realities of the league, took the job understanding the specific challenges involved. His assignment was to design a scheme that could help maximize the franchise investment while managing the intense public attention surrounding the position. That context casts the entire summer competition in a very different light. If those background reports are accurate, the training camp battle was less of an open contest and more of a structured process designed to prepare the veteran for the regular season. The practice repetitions, the joint work against opposing teams, and the preseason playing time given to Sanders were never truly intended to alter the Week 1 depth chart. Sanders was effectively competing against an immovable contract commitment. Regardless of how well he delivered the ball or how much the veteran struggled with his progressions, the starting assignment had been established months earlier. This dynamic creates significant risk within any professional sports team. When players inside the building begin to believe that on-field performance is secondary to contractual status, team trust can quickly erode. An NFL locker room relies on the principle that the most productive players earn playing time, and setting that standard aside to protect a financial investment creates internal friction that is difficult to manage once game pressure arrives. To fully understand the frustration surrounding this quarterback controversy, one must look at the broader sequence of events that unfolded across the entire organization this past offseason. This depth chart dispute did not occur in a stable environment. It emerged at the end of an exceptionally difficult offseason filled with coaching changes, injury setbacks, and persistent roster questions. The disruption began on the defensive side of the ball with the departure of their experienced defensive coordinator, removing a key strategist whose game plans had helped carry the team through previous offensive dry spells. Shortly after that departure, rumors regarding potential trade interest in star defensive end Myles Garrett circulated through national sports coverage. The mere suggestion that the franchise cornerstone could be involved in trade discussions created immediate unease among supporters. Meanwhile, the wide receiver room experienced persistent issues with dropped passes during summer practices, and key contributors along the defensive front suffered season-ending injuries before training camp even finished. In addition to those setbacks, the front office engaged in high-profile pursuits of prominent unrestricted free agents, only to see those targets sign with other franchises on comparable contract terms. A summer that was intended to bring clarity and progress instead generated a steady stream of personnel concerns and public debate. By the time training camp opened, the local fanbase was already anxious, looking for concrete signs that the upcoming season would demonstrate meaningful growth. Given that challenging environment, the coaching staff had a real opportunity to generate genuine optimism by recognizing the strong play of Shedeur Sanders during camp. Sanders brought a steady presence, disciplined mechanics, and an engaging style of play that quickly captured the attention of local supporters. He represented an opportunity to reset the narrative and build around an ascending young talent on an affordable rookie contract. Instead, the organization chose to maintain the status quo by handing the starting role back to a veteran whose recent performances have created ongoing debate and skepticism among fans. That decision concentrated all the underlying frustration from a difficult offseason directly onto the head coach and the starting quarterback, raising the stakes for every single drive in the early weeks of the season. The tension between the starting quarterback and the local community escalated significantly when media discussions shifted from football performance to his public standing in the city. Longtime team reporter Mary Kay Cabot asked Watson directly about his plans to reconnect with the local community, rebuild his public image, and re-establish a positive connection with the fans who support the franchise. The question provided an open opportunity for the quarterback to address fan concerns directly, acknowledge their frustration, and express a sincere commitment to earning their respect through hard work both on and off the field. However, his response drew immediate criticism across local and national.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Sports platforms. Watson stated that he was unsure what rebuilding his image would involve, suggesting it was a matter he would need to discuss with the team public relations staff. He added that he already participates in community service and claimed that whenever he encounters people at local restaurants and public venues, the interactions are entirely positive. To many fans who invest significant time and financial resources into supporting the team through difficult seasons, that response sounded disconnected from the reality of the local sentiment. It gave the impression of an athlete who is insulated from the genuine feelings of the community. Local sports radio programs and social media forums were quickly filled with callers expressing disappointment over what they viewed as a lack of accountability from the team's highest-paid player. The controversy deepened when unverified claims regarding his charitable organization began circulating widely across online fan communities. According to widely shared social media posts and discussions among fan accounts, unconfirmed reports claim that the Deshaun Watson Foundation had raised approximately $500,000 during the previous year, while distributing around $85,000 toward community initiatives, with the remainder reportedly remaining in the organization account. It is important to emphasize that these figures represent claims shared within online fan communities, rather than verified conclusions from an independent financial audit. However, in the realm of public perception, the specific accounting details mattered less than the overall impact on his public standing. For a fan base already questioning his connection to the city, those circulating discussions added further strain to an already delicate relationship, turning an athletic debate into a broader issue of public trust. When you move past the off-field discussions, contractual details, and community debate, the primary football argument presented by the coaching staff was that Watson's veteran experience gave him an essential advantage in pre-snap communication and operational command. Coaches frequently emphasize that an experienced quarterback can read defensive fronts, adjust pass protection schemes, and use cadence to manage the line of scrimmage effectively. That veteran presence is typically the primary justification for starting an established player over a developing backup. However, an objective review of the preseason game film raised serious questions about that narrative. During live game action, it was the experienced veteran who showed visible signs of disorganization before the snap, committing multiple false start penalties, and struggling to align the offensive unit before the play clock expired. His pre-snap cadence appeared rushed, protection calls were occasionally delayed, and the offense struggled with basic operational execution. In contrast, the young quarterback who was expected to need time adjusting to NFL defenses demonstrated remarkable composure at the line of scrimmage. When Shedeur Sanders took over the huddle, his pre-snap communication was clear, confident, and rhythmic. He effectively varied his hard counts to challenge defensive fronts, successfully drawing opposing defenders offside on multiple occasions and earning free yardage for the offense. That direct contrast created significant skepticism regarding the coaching staff official reasoning. The veteran quarterback with extensive career experience was committing basic procedural errors, while the younger backup was demonstrating advanced pre-snap control and drawing defensive penalties. The specific operational traits that were supposed to justify Watson's starting role were the very areas where Sanders performed with greater consistency during live action. This clear discrepancy is why many independent football analysts have questioned the official narrative coming from the facility. When the tape shows the backup operating the offense with greater mechanical precision and pre-snap discipline than the starter, the football justifications for the depth chart become difficult to sustain. If you value detailed, film-based analysis that breaks down actual execution on the field, make sure you are subscribed to the NFL updates. Following the NFL updates guarantees you receive thorough, objective film breakdowns as the regular season unfolds. The game film consistently reveals the truth, and the tape indicates an offensive situation that will face immediate scrutiny as soon as regular season competition begins. The Cleveland Browns are entering the regular season with an operational dynamic that carries substantial risk for the entire coaching staff. Todd Monken has tied his early coaching tenure to a veteran quarterback who faces widespread skepticism from the local fan base, who did not clearly outperform his backup during August practices, and whose standing with the community remains under intense scrutiny. The moment the offense encounters difficulty during regular season games, the public demand for Shedeur Sanders will quickly become an overwhelming topic of conversation across the sports landscape. An NFL locker room is a demanding environment where player commitment is sustained by the belief that performance dictates playing time. Offensive linemen endure intense physical contact, receivers battle for contested catches, and defensive players compete through physical discomfort every week. When players on the roster begin to question whether personnel choices are based strictly on performance or influenced by contractual investments, internal cohesion can rapidly deteriorate. Shedeur Sanders did not lose this position battle due to a lack of execution on the field. Based on practice observations, preseason film, and operational command throughout the summer, the young quarterback demonstrated that he was capable of managing the offense effectively right now. His placement on the depth chart reflects the reality of a massive contractual commitment that the organization is not yet prepared to move away from publicly. The central question surrounding this team is not simply whether Watson can return to the level of play seen earlier in his career, but rather how long the organization can sustain this plan if early results fall short of expectations. If the offense struggles and public frustration continues to grow, the pressure on the coaching staff will become intense, creating a scenario where a change at the position may become unavoidable well before the season reaches its final stretch. We have analyzed the camp tape, the front office contract pressures, the background coaching dynamics, and the operational contrasts that define this high-stakes quarterback controversy. Todd Monken has made the calculated decision to open the year with his high-priced veteran, but the margin for error in Cleveland is virtually non-existent. With passionate fans already voicing their frustration outside team headquarters and game film, highlighting the composed play of Shedeur Sanders, this situation is approaching a critical turning point. If the offense experiences early setbacks on the field, the organizational pressure to make a change under center will be impossible to ignore. Now we want to hear your perspective on this entire situation. How many regular season starts will Deshaun Watson make before the coaching staff considers turning the offense over to Shedeur Sanders? And will we see Sanders starting under center before Thanksgiving? Share your exact predictions and game timelines in the comments below. If you enjoyed this in-depth, fearless breakdown, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button to support the channel. Most importantly, subscribe to the NFL updates right now and turn on all notifications so you never miss another exclusive report, tactical film study, or breaking roster analysis throughout the entire football season. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the very next update.
Everyone from national media to Browns media said, yo, just start Shedeur. We saw he played better. Deshaun pissed his pants against the fourth stringers and future Subway design artists while he threw a Tuna Club sub. Like, let's have the conversation. Let's really have the conversation. When you get named the starter and this happens here at Brown's training facility, fans are driving by and yelling in frustration.
Pass this summer.
The Arch Manning sweepstakes, and most importantly, shout out to Clevelandology. He does some great film breakdowns and stuff like that. Advanced Analytics says this decision feels like it was made when Monken signed the paperwork to become the head coach. This was part of the interview process. Are you willing to start Deshaun and deal with all that comes with it? It's why all the younger head coach candidates were backing out, and I think that's a great take.
Now let's get into the part of this that's actually generating the most anger from Browns fans. Because it's not just about football anymore.